Welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. I'm your host, Logan Bourandas, joined by Hunter Pitcoff and Evan Lasek. The NFL Combine is starting up towards the end of the week on Thursday, and we're looking at some of the biggest stories following the event. Guys, one of the biggest names in this NFL Combine is Joe Burrow. He's projected number one pick overall in the entire NFL draft. And a lot of people are kind of wondering whether or not he should pull a John Elway or Eli Manning-esque type move and try and get away from the team who has the number one pick in the Cincinnati Bengals.
Now, at this point, you have to think, is Joe Burrow really a number one talent? Like, he has the small hands, as he's stated so many times. He has small hands. He's a big guy. Can he really catch that shotgun snap perfectly? He's already tweeted that maybe it won't work. But all jokes aside, he's going to be the number one guy. The only question that you're posing is, will he stay there? And yes, he will stay there. He most definitely will, mainly just for money. That's his hometown team. Yes, he's from Ohio, but they're going to guarantee his contract. They're going to give him the biggest rookie contract off of guarantees, not off a salary. They're not allowed to do that anymore, thanks to Mr. Jamarcus Russell. But Burrow will go first round. He'll stay in the Bengals. They're going to give him all the money that he wants just for that.
Remember Carson Palmer, right? One of the greatest, if not the greatest, Cincinnati Bengals quarterback the franchise ever had. He said himself that this franchise is not committed to winning. How many games did Joe Burrow lose at LSU? 0. Or at least his senior year, he did not lose any games. This is a winner. He doesn't want to go to a loser. We have seen in the past talented players get ruined by dysfunctional franchises such as the Bengals. I think it's in Joe Burrow's best interest to force his hand here. If he doesn't want to play in Cincinnati, then don't. Power in the player, force a trade, go somewhere else.
Now, sorry, Logan, I know you're about to say something, but Joe, LSU took a chance on him. We can all agree on that. They took a chance on a guy from Ohio State who was a backup, didn't have any starting time. They took a chance, and look where he got him. He got him a national championship. He got him a Heisman. I think Burrow's going to repay the favor here. I think he's going to take a chance on Cincinnati. They're not going to win right away. Everybody knows that. Just look at their team. Look at the talent they have around them. They're old guys. They're going to start rebuilding. But Burrow is going to rebuild them. Maybe 4 or 5 years down the road, end of his rookie contract. We'll see if he re-signs there, but I think he's going to help them rebuild.
Yeah, I think that the fact that he's from Ohio, he's a Cincinnati Bengals fan, went to Ohio State before he transferred to LSU for college. I think it's definitely going to help in terms of just going to, or just at least committing to the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think that the Bengals, after this 1 year, they've gotten a lot of bad press. I mean, throughout this entire decade, they've been one of the better teams. They made the playoffs 5 straight years. Playoff record aside.
Zero wins.
They made the playoff 5 straight times. Andy Dalton is their starting quarterback. I think Joe Burrow, he has the talent, he has the potential to lead the Bengals back to the playoffs. Hopefully get a playoff win this time in this decade again. But let's talk about if he does leave. Let's talk about if Joe Burrow tries to get out of Cincinnati. What's a destination you could see him going to?
Now, it's really difficult because all the destinations I could see him going to are in the same place as the Bengals. They're really untalented team who desperately need a quarterback. Now, if you think Burrow's going to leave the Bengals and just go to another crappy system like that, the only one I could think of is Miami. They have 3 first-round picks, I believe, this year. They have the cap space to afford a guy like that. And I think that's the only team with the willpower and strength and cap room, not to mention, to have that guy on their team.
Look, Joe Brady, the passing game coordinator, the puppet master pulling the strings at LSU. He's with the Carolina Panthers now, got the OC job there.
I was expecting that.
Cam Newton, he had a great run with the Panthers, but this is a rebuilding team, and if they have a chance to pounce on a guy like Joe Burrow, they're going to shoot their shot. This is a rebuilding team, a young offense, and I think Joe Burrow could be the new face of the Carolina Panthers if he decides to not play for Cincy.
I'm going to go with another team that has a lot of draft capital. Could be a little surprising if some of the moves kind of work out. But the Las Vegas Raiders. Derek Carr been kind of underperforming throughout his years as a Raider quarterback. Made the playoffs once. He got hurt before that run even happened. Lost to the Texans in the first round. The Raiders need help at quarterback. They're on the up and up. They had a good year last year. They were a week away from making the playoffs. They were in it until week 17. A lot had to go right for them to make it, but they were in it till the very end. They have Josh Jacobs, a very exciting running back. They have the draft capital to get the deal done. Remember the Khalil Mack trade? They have first-round picks from the Chicago Bears they can use to kind of make that trade work. And I think the only problem with that actually happening is that Cincinnati, they don't want to trade Burrow to an AFC team. The Carson Palmer trade kind of backfired on them when the last time these two teams made a trade. But I could definitely see it kind of happening.
Gruden would love Burrow, too. He really would.
All right, moving on
Anybody
to moving on to the next segment here. Who has the most to prove at this year's combine?
All right, so I'll start with Yetur Gross-Matos. He's a Penn State guy. He's kind of flown under the radar because of mainly Chase Young from Ohio State. There's a lot of talented edge rushers out there. A.J. Epineza, too. He's very good. But Gross-Matos has really come into his own. He's kind of rising in the scouting ranks. And with this combine, if he performs well, if he puts a lot of athletics out there, I think he can raise up into that top 5, top 10 area of not the draft, but of the edge rushers. But I do think he will be a first-round talent. He's projected as like late first round, early second round, but I think he can move into the top 15 with a good combine.
He's also a freak athlete, and no Chase Young competing in drills at the combine. Perhaps Gross-Matos is the guy that shines the brightest. Now, last year, Kyler Murray was a guy who won the combine just by getting his height measured and being taller than 5'9". Tua Tagovailoa, I think he could win the combine just by proving these doctors right, or proving them wrong, however their opinions may be, that he is healthy, he is 100%. If he's shown the talent, he's won championships, he's played in big games, no one questions his talent, it's the durability. If he can show that he's 100%, then I think that Tua Tagovailoa will lock himself to be a top 5 pick.
Going to the later rounds with a quarterback who kind of got embarrassed in the playoffs when he got there, but Jalen Hurts. This is a very deep quarterback class where Jalen Hurts, if the draft kind of happened right now, he'd be maybe a 3rd, 4th round draft pick. He needs to show out in these passing drills. Everyone knows he's athletic. Everyone knows he can run like crazy. He just needs to show that he can be an actual quarterback, actually throw the football. That was Lamar Jackson's biggest concern, but he was still a first-round quarterback because of his athleticism. Jalen Hurts a little less athletic than Jackson, so he needs to show these scouts that he can actually throw the ball like an actual NFL quarterback. Maybe he'll slide up a couple rounds.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what events he actually competes in, because I know Lamar didn't run the 40 time just because they didn't want to think of him. He didn't want them to think of him as a receiver or running back. He wanted to be a quarterback. So I want to keep an eye on Hurts and see if he decides to run the 40 time. I know he has some speed. I just want to see if he wants to be treated like a QB.
All right, next up, who do you guys think is going to be the MVP of this year's combine?
You know who I'm going to say. It's going to be Joe Burrow again.
Of course it is.
It's got to be Joe. I think he's one of the best players to come out of recent drafts other than Chase Young, but Chase Young's not going to be there. So that paves way for Joe. Joe's had a very impressive season. Everybody knows that. But it's going to be interesting to see how scouts talk to him, because there's not going to be a lot of conversations. It's going to be the one with the Bengals where they're saying, hey, we're taking you at 1. Don't really try to talk to anybody else. It's not going to work. You're going to be our guy. But his ball skills are just going to show off, and it's just going to make him clearly the best QB. There are other guys like Herbert, Tagovailoa, but it's going to be Burrow all the way.
I will say, though, I'm curious to see, because a lot of top quarterbacks, they won't throw at the combine, but maybe Joe Burrow is just the ultimate competitor and goes, you know what, I'm going to school all you guys, I'm going to show you why I'm the best guy. I could see it happening. I guess we'll see. But a guy I look at is the leader of Clemson's defense, and that is Isaiah Simmons. The biggest question with him is, I don't know, is he a linebacker? Is he a safety? The answer is yes. He can play all over the field. He's your modern-day linebacker that you want. He's a leader. He was the captain of the team. He's a freak athlete. He also is very skilled as well. Those guys typically thrive at the combine. He's already a top 5 player in this draft, in my opinion. I don't necessarily think he'll help his stock or decrease it, but I think he's just going to show out and really show people that he belongs with the elite of the elite.
I think in reality, probably the most anticipated event at this NFL Combine is Henry Ruggs' 40 time.
Oh yeah,
He
I'm excited.
tweeted out a couple weeks ago that he can run a 4.19 40. And if that's true, he's slated as the 3rd best receiver in this Combine. He can maybe move up a couple spots, maybe get in the 1st round, maybe kind of outshine his own teammate in Jerry Jeudy, maybe kind of get a little higher in terms of the receiving class of this year's draft. Now, the final segment, really quickly, is going to look at the players who can most likely boost their stock here during this combine.
Now, you speak of receivers, you say Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, but you also got to think of a guy named Tyler Johnson. He's an underrated receiver out of Minnesota, 6'2", very physical guy. I see a lot of similarities between him and Juju Smith. Not the fastest 40 time, but his ball skills are outstanding. A lot of 50-50 chances, and his break off the line is exceptional.
I'm going to go with the guy who has a PhD in route running. That is Jerry Jeudy of Alabama. He's going to show everybody that he can run as polished routes as any receiver in this draft. The question with him is if he's able to catch the ball consistently. So hopefully for him, he's able to do that. And a guy like Mekhi Becton, not many people know who he is. but they should. He's 6'7", 370-pound offensive lineman, but he is so agile for his size. This is a guy that you have to look at and could potentially solidify himself, maybe even as a top 5 pick in this draft. Watch out for him.
And lastly, I think Grant Delpit, LSU, one of the better safeties in this draft.
Like
he had his stock a little bit decreased a little bit just because he had so many ankle injuries going into this year. Couldn't really participate as much as he really wanted to throughout LSU's championship run. But if he can have a really good combine, you're talking about a top 15 player in this year's draft.
LSU safeties, absolutely insane.
TBU.
And that's going to do it here for NFL Combine segment here on Penn State Sports Night. For Hunter Pitcoff and Evan Lasek, I'm Logan Bourandas, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching our latest edition of Penn State Sports Night. If you're a fan of our content, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more clips. Also follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with the action. For all my colleagues, we are Penn State Sports Night.